At Relentless Digital, we believe in breaking barriers and driving innovation. That's why we are extremely proud to sponsor the Power Women of the Trades podcast, supporting the voices and success of women in the home service industry. Together, we're creating a future where talent shines, regardless of gender, and diversity thrives. Join our journey at relentless-digital.com and always be relentless in your pursuit of excellence.
This episode of Power Women of the Trades is also brought to you by Forrest Perry of Forrest Perry Digital Marketing. Want to generate more leads for your service business? Trust his team to deliver quality new customer leads and protect your brand online. Check out perrymarketing.com today.
Hello everyone. We want to give a quick shout out to our amazing partner, Rilla, the game changer in the home service industry. Rilla's virtual ride-along software means no more physical ride-alongs. With Rilla, you can coach your team virtually 100 times faster and boost your close sale rates like never before. Don't miss out. Join the movement today and watch your sales soar. Visit rilla.com/PWT to learn more.
Welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast. This show is all about breaking barriers and changing the game. Our guests will feature some of today's most successful female entrepreneurs and other advocates of our industry as well. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, female-led entrepreneurship drives change on multiple levels. We want to empower women in the trade industry like you so you can maximize your potential, stay balanced, achieve long-term success, and claim ownership over your life. Let's get started.
Okay, if I could go back, it's 2025, and I could go back to, this is our 11th year in business.
Okay.
We could have grown faster at quality if we implemented some of the things that we did since 2020. And the biggest things that we implemented since 2020, and again, you had to have money for it, right? We had to generate cash to be able to do these things, right? But we rebranded with Cake Charge. We added ServiceTitan. We started using more marketing specific things. And then we adapt to new technology. So like Rilla. What Rilla does on top of that is that I wish it was live. It's not live. So that's one thing that I think they're working on, but they haven't done yet. But it uploads pretty quickly, and our service managers can go in and be like, hey, you forgot to do this, or hey, whatever. But it's not just like a text that you type it onto where they said something at, but then there's, you can leave a video for them to watch, like, hey, and so one of our, service director, Aspen, our HVAC director, she'll always be like, hey, so what was that? And like you're now seeing her. So there's just some things because, when we're running as many calls as we do, especially when you get into the summer or really any time, there's just no way for you to really stay up on every single thing. You can do ride-alongs, but you can't see every scenario.
Yeah, right.
So that's why we love Rilla, but it's definitely one of those things that you do have to have your team's buy-in.
I'm freaking out. Like I know, yeah, we're in between a small company and a big company right now. So I just added a general manager like a month ago. That's been really hard for me. We put up an org chart. I'm like, I need to do the marketing and be able to do things like this and be visible. And he was like, I've never had to deal with this before. I didn't really know this was a thing. And I'm like, thank you for saying that, because, and it was when that customer had said, oh, I think isn't this a man's job? That wasn't rude. It was just like, that was there, just stating that. And he said, I've just never had to deal with this. Do you deal with it a lot? And I'm like, yeah, I do actually. But I've been dealing with it for 18 years in a different capacity. So transitioning to, we're a woman-owned and operated heating and air company, like right out the gate, somebody, oh my gosh, so bad, like put on my Facebook, it looks like you're doing well. It looks like you haven't missed a meal in a while. And I'm like, what? Like crying and sobbing. And I'm like, that's been my pain point my whole life. Like, really, dude? Like, would you put that on a man's HVAC page? Like, and my husband's like, you know what? You're getting noticed. So, you're beautiful and you're strong. I'm like, okay, and gosh darn it, people like me or what? Like, just Saturday Night Live,
Right. Oscar, my husband, always says that people don't talk about people that aren't relevant. And so
that's true.
I'm like, okay, fair. So if they're talking about you, it's because you're relevant in their life. And I'm like, that's true.
Thanks, Pierre.
Okay.
Yep.
And so, and then I also just think that like, even the crappy comments, man, like on this podcast, you wouldn't believe how many comments we've been like, oh, look, daddy's money. I'm like, I've said this a few times. I'm like, my dad gave me trauma and like daddy issues. Like I don't have any, he definitely didn't give me money, you know, but
so
it's
sorry.
the perception of just, you know, it's like so crappy and you're like, what? But
Yes,
like, thanks for the engagement because you commented on my TikTok. You boosted it for us. Thank you. You know?
Yeah, just keyboard warriors. It's just, I had to learn to get tough skin. And I'm like, does this customer know that we're a woman-owned and operated heating and air company? But it doesn't matter. So
you should connect with Rachel Helft.
I was just thinking that Rachel did the same thing that you did.
She is in Washington, D.C., a little different. She had no heat and air experience, and she just
none.
bought a company.
Send me your info.
Yes. Okay. But she's like 100% woman owned. She bought a company and she's just doing it. And then she rebranded and made everything pink. And with her, with her, well, not her, but like her logo has a woman. And so it's like, she made sure that they know, and she's had no kickback. Like her technicians love the pink shirts, the men included, you know. And so you should connect with her because that's what all this is about.
Yeah, she's got a great story about why she started, and like Cassie said, she had no HVAC experience. She just bought an HVAC company and made it happen.
She's doing well. I mean, it sounds like it. If you guys know her,
yeah, we loved her. We had a really cool story with her. So the Women in HVAC conference is in October every year. And 2 conferences ago, she came and met me at the booth and was like, I am such a fan. And I had kind of had this moment of like, someone knows who we are. Like, this is crazy, right? And then this last conference, we had her on the show. And so it was like a really cool full circle moment of like getting to see her growth and that. But yeah, great. Like, there's just so many people out there that are willing to help. There's a lot of people who aren't, and we've got to wade through them. But the networking, and I think at the end of the day, like women, sometimes we are our worst. How am I trying to say that?
Sometimes we're our worst enemy because we are so critical of ourselves.
Yeah,
in what we do in a dominantly male industry. We're always potentially put up against the judgment just because we're a female,
or put up against each other as females.
Yes.
And it's just wild out there, right? But it's just wading through all the crap. But we have such a voice in this industry still. And like, Katy, I'm excited to follow your story now. I'm committed to it.
I know. I really want to see. I'm excited that you added service because you've done all these installs, and your customers are going to have that expectation there that you're going to come back and service those things, the systems that you've sold.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be. And we're going to have you on again in in a year or so, and just to follow up the growth
where we're
of
at.
your business. Yeah.
Okay. So if you didn't have a service department, are you going back on all the installs that you did in selling a membership?
Oh, I already did. We've got 585 memberships. So
okay, good.
We're good.
I was making sure we got a membership.
Like that was the one thing I knew how to do was sell memberships and have a maintenance tech. And I had hired a administrative assistant. Her name was Paige, and she worked for me for a week. And then I said, I need you to learn HVAC terminology. Like, go work out in the field for a week with one of my techs. And then she never came back. Like, because she loved the field so much. So she's our maintenance technician. She is fantastic. But so I knew how to structure the installs and maintenance and memberships. It just really, it didn't really occur to me that when there might be some repairs, I'm like, if we got a warranty, we send our installer. I mean, of course it really did. I just didn't know how to put it all together. And Heather, I think you were so right. Like, not knowing what was normal really allowed me to fly, so to speak. Yeah. It wasn't until last year I went to a little conference and this person I was sitting next to said, oh man, this is our 20th year and we're hoping to do 5 million this year. And I'm like, I'm texting my husband who works in commercial construction. He's a commercial superintendent. And I'm like, I think I've done something pretty special. And he's like, I've been trying to tell you because I just didn't know. And then I didn't dare tell anybody. I'm like, wait a minute, I should be screaming it from the rooftops because it's something to be proud of. What we accomplished was amazing.
It absolutely is.
And then I'm immediately like, I'm thinking back to when we were 5 million. And I believe that the the hard jumps are 5 million, 10 million, 15 million. I feel like there's a jump there. So you're in this spot now that likely things are getting more expensive and your overhead has to go up to account for all of this. And so that gets more expensive. And everyone just thinks, oh, if I can get to 5 million, well, you really don't want to stay at 5 million because that's a hard spot to stay in.
Yep.
It's very hard.
Such a weird spot. And it's so weird. Like we had this, our Tuesday morning meeting yesterday, and I stood up there to my team because I had been gone for a minute. They allowed me to go on vacation, which was awesome. And I felt comfortable going. But we were slow. And I said, I don't know if I could have been here, if I could have changed anything, but I think about your paychecks and I think about you as individuals, all the time. And I'm like, and I think about working in the garage and how easy that was when there was just a couple of us, but every single one of us wants to work here. And so it's our responsibility. And I'm like, trying not to cry. I'm like, every one of us, as long as we do our job, we're going to continue to have a job because now we've staffed up to do 7 million. And if we all don't do our part, like some people won't have their jobs. And it is just, it is heartbreaking to me. So
it is.
We just have to do our part.
It is an honor to get to do it, but it's the most stressful thing you'll ever do.
So I appreciate this opportunity. I think just the more exposure, and maybe I can become an expert in the field. And so I appreciate this opportunity with you ladies so much.
Awesome. Well,
it's been awesome having you on the show today.
I heard you say 7 million.
I'd like, yep, that's the budget for this year. Just to increase. Yeah. Well, we've added service. So it turns out they can turn over leads. I'm like, what?
Who knew?
Who knew? So, and they're doing it. I'm like, this is incredible. So I should have got on this bandwagon last year, but honestly, we couldn't have handled it. There was so much negativity last year, and it was because it was literally the Wild West. I mean, that volume without any processes, it's like, oh crap, we fell through a ceiling. What do we do? Oh crap, we dinged the washing machine. What do we do? Like, we didn't have stuff in place. We do now.
You have stuff in place, but I can still tell you that there's still going to be times you don't.
Well,
there's stuff that happens all the time. I think that if you at least know that you can be like, because you're going to be so proud of yourself, and you should be, for all the processes that you build. And we have a process, right? We do too. Like,
we know who to call, kind of.
But
and you have to revisit it too. You can't set it and forget it because it's always changing. It's always what worked for you last year isn't going to work for you next year.
Yeah,
there's always something, and you're just like, I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't know this, or one of our plumbing manager came into us one day and he was like, hey, Cassie, I need you to help me build an SOP for this. And I said, we've never had this happen before. And he's like, nope. I was like, okay. Like, it's just like a basic thing that you thought we would have already done, but it just isn't. And you can only prepare for so many what ifs before you get stuck in the what if tunnel. And like, I don't like to subscribe to doomsday stuff. So sometimes you just got to build a process in the moment, and then now you got it.
Yep. No, we tried really hard to focus on the positive, just because like last year, I feel like I lost some key people because of like, they didn't have all of the pieces or the entire picture. And it was just hard. Right. And now we get to redo last year, but we get to do it better, and we get to do it with intention and a little bit of structure, and a little bit of sleep, I hope.
Well, and one thing too that I say a lot, and anybody who's formerly worked for me, and I hate if they hear this, and like, I don't ever want to hurt anyone's feelings, but one thing that will be hard for you coming is that not all the people with you now will stay.
Didn't know.
Even when you know how committed that you think they are, because the more you grow and the more processes, some of them don't want the process.
And who you have now may not be who you need.
How do you guys
get to where you want to go?
How do you manage that?
It sucks. And it's hard to not take it personal, because I can look back and say that one of the biggest like issues of my career as a leader was when people would leave, and I took it so personal that I got like fueled by that. And then looking a year out, I would be like, oh my gosh, if they would have stayed, think about how we would have been held back because they didn't want to do what we wanted to do. Right. And that doesn't make
And you
sense.
have to give those people the opportunities and set those opportunities out there for them. That, like, this is your expectation as you grow. Like, there's going to be new expectations.
Yeah.
And I think making sure that the entire team knows the why and the goals and the intention of where you want to take the company, then if there's a team member that isn't performing to that expectation, you have to give the opportunity for them to change it, or you have to address it with that team member, and they just may not be willing to do what it's going to take to get you to that next level. And then that's a conversation that you have at that time and say, these are the goals. We've had this conversation multiple times, and it's becoming clear to me that this isn't really what you want to do. And so do we part as friends, or do you want to get on the train? Because the train is not stopping.
Yeah. It's actually like the more processes you put in, me and Oscar and I were talking the other day specifically about how we can look back and see key moments in our business where we made a big shift to become, because we consider ourselves a premium company, and it sounds like that's what you're growing to. Your plan is you are a premium company, and you're going to continue to be a premium company. And not all of our employees wanted to be a part of a premium company at that time, right? Like, what do you mean I have to come to work every day? What do you mean I have to tuck my shirt in? What do you mean I have to wear a clean uniform? What do you mean I've got to clock in to get paid? What do you mean? I need to be able to call in 3 days a week. Not everyone wants to operate that way with that type of structure. They just don't intend to have that structure in their personal life either. And so it gets really hard, in the moment. And I just wish I had been better prepared for when those changes, because to be honest with you, I think some people tried to prepare me, and I would be like, whatever.
That's never going to happen. Yeah. Exactly.
People love it here.
Yeah.
They want to do this, and then I'd be like, hey, buddy, you haven't came to work. You called in 4 days this month, we got an
that's
issue.
not normal.
And I can't let you keep doing that because we're booking jobs for you,
Yes.
and then, when the shift happened, so we can look back now and see these big moments in the business where these shifts happened and processes and people changed.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And I'm literally telling you that right now, knowing you're on the cusp of that one, girl.
Oh, it feels so painful right now already, having a manager and relinquishing a lot of that stuff. And if there's a write-up I can do, I'm like, why are we writing people up? Yesterday we had a new handbook, and one of the technicians came and said, well, it doesn't say anything about texting and driving, so is that allowed? I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to write everything. What is happening? Is this for real?
Yeah.
So,
then the bigger you get, the more exposure you have. And then people are going to start trying to okay, we went to this conference and we were like, someone had said, for every $1 million you do in business, prepare for one person to sue you. And I was like, well, that's weird to think, right? And at that point we were at 3 million. And so I was like, sue. And I took sue you as they're suing me too specific. But what I now on this other side, it's well, no, they're mad. So they're trying to get as much of our insurance as they can. Right. Or whatever. Well, that's held true. For every $1 million, we've had about, that many people a year, whatever million you're at, try to come up for some wild insurance claim that you're like, what? And especially the larger you get, the more some people think that there's opportunity for it. And so there's just things that being a part of best practice groups, Nexstar for us has been
Nexstar wouldn't take me. You might have to talk to them. So I signed up with Service Nation, which has been great. That was that meeting that I went to, and I learned so much.
So you're with Service Nation?
Yes.
We love
Service Nation.
Lots of
great
Nation friends.
Okay, so that meeting. So last October, Jim Henshaw called, or September, and he was like, "Do you know who I am?" I'm like, "No," and he's like, "Do you know that you were nominated as Woman of the Year?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Are you planning on coming?" And I'm like, "Coming to what?" And he's like, "Well, if we pay for you to come, will you come?" And I'm thinking, I won I've won, and I wasn't even on the radar. Like I get out there, and it's me and my daughter, and I get out there, and I'm not even on the radar. But
there's some really great people in Service
it
Nation.
was awesome. I learned so much.
Yeah.
So I signed up.
Do you know Stephanie Fostel?
Oh yes,
Okay,
I do. I just connected with her. Yes. She and I have a very similar story.
Yeah. And we just have, Heather and I both like have some big, great friends. And Nexstar for us, we talk about Nexstar a lot because that's who obviously we're with. And so backstory a little bit. Heather previously worked for Sky Heating and Cooling in Oregon. Okay. And then she was no longer employed there. There's much more of a story. Yeah. But I did not recruit her, for the record.
But no, we sold the company.
Okay, cool.
So we sold the company in 2022. Travis and I stayed for a year after we sold. Okay. Travis was the owner of Sky Heating. And then he and I both left at the same time. We just decided it was time for us to leave. And
so then I was like, hey, I have an opening.
You're like, hey, girl, I know you and I have a spot for you.
Actually, it went more like, I know you're going to get bored. I know you want to take some time off, but I got you first. So don't take any other job offers. You're coming to work for quality.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah. And she was literally like, okay. And because she kept telling me, I'm going to be like kind of retired for a little bit. And I was like, no, you're not. Be for real. But I'm just not letting anyone else talk you out. You're like, I want to make sure I got my name in. But so they are the originally who like sponsored quality to get into Nexstar. So that's how we know Nexstar, and that's why we're so passionate about Nexstar. But we know a lot of people that are in SNA, a lot of great friends. There's a lot of great people in there. And like, yes. And Matt Michelle invented it, right? Like I always get confused with that.
He was one of the founding members. Yeah. I don't know if you know Matt Michelle. He wrote a book called Contractor Stories. It's a great book if you haven't read it. Wonderful, wonderful man.
Like and the most just humble man ever, because like he's like a legend in our industry. And anytime we talk about him on the show, he's always like, why are you talking about me? I'm like, or not like bad. Like he's like he's not that big of a deal. I'm like, man, he's a legend.
You're the OG.
But he's very, very humble. But he doesn't like.
Yeah, he's very, very humble. But anyways, there's just so much. Those types of conferences, I just can't say enough about them. Like, but you have to be careful because, I'm sorry. You have to be careful because I get a little passionate because our space has been turned into this, look at me, I'm selling something to you and I can teach you how to 10x your business and be a billionaire. And it's just like
shiny
not
penny.
real.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And there's no silver bullet. There's no magic button. There's no easy button. And so, I take it.
They're trying to sell you a smoke screen, so just be wary.
I know it's hard to not get caught up because it's like you get on Facebook, and you're like, well, if they have all these followers, how can it not be real? And I want to actually do Kick Charge when I have enough money. That's one I'm like super passionate about. Like Dan listened to my story and he's like, you've got to connect with Stephanie. So he connected me with Stephanie. We've got a very similar story. I'll just leave it at that. But I would love so much. But the rest, I'm like, they must be good because they have all these followers, and it's so hard to not.
Don't necessarily buy into that.
Yeah, and that's why I get really opinionated on Facebook about these things because I've seen so many be harmed. But
thank goodness somebody's speaking up. Thank goodness.
Cassie and I both been in this industry a long time, and we've been around the block, and we know a lot of people and. Just be wary. I mean, you can always reach out to either
I will
one
reach
of us.
out to you guys and be like, okay, is this one okay? Is this okay? Because
anybody who's listening, it's not just you. Anybody who's listening, I take it like if someone asks me for advice on these topics, if I'm putting my name on it, I got to have some proof, right? And my name, I will only if someone comes to me and asks for coaching, I will only say Nexstar, Service Nation,
and BDR.
Okay,
that's
cool.
It. Yeah. They've been around for ever. Yeah. They're tried and true. They are not just forever, but over 30 years, they are tried and true and have done the work. I'm not saying that there's nobody else. I'm just saying those three I know with personal experience or
same
very close experience, and so because it's a scary world out there. And especially right now, girl, like with you being 24 months in, I can see your inbox.
So thank you. I appreciate this so much because I will reach out because I don't know who to trust and I don't know like what's real or which one to sign up for. You can see that I'm vacillating on the Rilla Zero.
You are exactly at the
and all this
size.
stuff, and I don't know what to do. So I will absolutely
the size right now that is like the number one target of people that are going to reach out to you that could potentially seriously harm your business. Your business is the perfect size that they look for.
There's so many people out there that are just looking, and especially now that you probably after this episode, when they're like, oh, Katie's doing $5 million in Utah. Let's go meet her. I'm going to knock on her door. And like, I'm not joking when I say like, I can already see your inbox and your messages of marketing companies and coaches and sales coaches and service coaches and this and that. And just like, trust your gut. And that's to everybody. Trust your gut. If it looks like a smoke screen, cool. I always say, they got pictures with, jets and Lamborghinis, we got issues because there's only like less than 5 in the industry that I know of that could truly have those items. And they're busy playing with those items.
Yeah.
They're not always.
Yeah, they're not looking to
they're not on social media trying to sell you something.
And so I'm pissing somebody off.
You have no idea how much you appreciate
I think we're both pissing somebody off today.
We're going to make someone mad with this episode. But Katy, I'm so excited for you. You literally are getting to do some big things.
This meeting is, I had to do my Service Nation meeting at 10 this morning, and I didn't want to miss it. So I cleared everything else. Because I'm in this great group. Steve Miles is my mentor. It's fantastic. Corey Hickman's in my group, and Shannon Bartlett. She's awesome. And the information that I get from there every week is so valuable that even though like I wanted so desperately to be on the show with you guys, I was like, okay, can we please do 11?
Oh, we can work with you.
So
we don't ever want you to miss
but I'm so
out.
glad to feel like I have a connection, because part of what was so endearing for Service Nation to me is that they had this group of women, and I was like, oh, they're women owners, and it wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but I was so happy to find some females in the industry, and like yourselves, I'm like, I feel like I could ask you a question and you'd tell me the truth.
Heather and I are working on some other behind the scenes things that we're not announcing just yet, or that I can tell you in a minute off air.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay. It'll be coming to all soon. But we just want to keep continuing to build space for everyone to grow and to lean on each other and to do good things together. We believe that we can create businesses that don't require us to sell to PE. We can if we want, but we don't have to. We can build legacy businesses. We can do work. We can do the work. And so there's lots of, so much opportunity. And Katy, I just want to go ahead and put it on I want to like Kaylee's behind the screen here. Kaylee, I just want you to book her for a recording in November.
Okay, I would love that.
Because I just want to hear so much.
I think I put in an app like a while ago. I was like, please, I want to be on your podcast. You guys
I just want to hear your year.
I am so glad. Thank you so much for clearing your schedule today.
No, I'm so excited because I was like, I think I sent a couple messages and I'm like, I want to get my story out there, but I'm looking for my tribe. So thank you. Yeah.
Well, and you know what? Cassie and I both are very, very passionate about making sure that the people in this industry who are doing good things stay protected.
And Katy, you have no clue how much your story is going to help someone else. Like I just know so many people that are your size that I'm already thinking that I'm going to message and say, I want you to hear the story with Katy and the things that she's doing and how you started in your garage and your growth and all that's going to keep coming. You have so much to be proud of, and where I'm proud of you. And I just met you an hour ago, so
I know I am too. I am too.
I am like I wrote down your names. I'm like I got to follow you guys, and now I feel like you're my friends. So thank you.
Yes, let's connect with us on Facebook if we're not already.
I will. And I was like trying to write your stuff down while.
Let's stay in touch. Well, Katy, thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks. And we're rebooking you in November because I just want to hear the Triumph story. The next.
Oh, I'm so excited to find out where you're at.
I might be reaching out.
It's going to be
like, what do I do about this? Should I do that?
So thanks.
Go ahead, do it, girl.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect.
Well, thank
you so much.
This has been Power Women of the Trades. Like what you hear so far? Leave us a review in Apple. And make sure to listen to our other episodes wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.